What's up, Bulldogs? All right, so I went to this anime festival thing at the mall this last weekend. All right, I took my daughter, she's 12, and she really likes anime, so I figured that'd be something fun for us to do together. Anyway, while I was there, I saw the most dorkiest guys ever, right? And I'm not saying this to make fun of them. Trust me, you'll see where I'm going in this video in a little bit here. But I was fascinated by observing them, right? I saw this group of 3 guys at the food court, and one of them just had this really recessed chin, and they were wearing kind of dorky looking clothing, and you could just tell that they were odd, right? There was one of them that looked a little bit normal, but mostly they just looked odd. And it wasn't just their physical appearance, right? I mean, obviously someone can't do something about a recessed chin, right? Aside from getting surgery or not, but it just influenced it. You could see how certain physical aspects or certain ways that they were probably caused them to be picked on by other kids and to become isolated, and then to really just kind of become even more dorky just because they didn't fit in. But as I watched them just interact and behave and sort of, even there was this guy, I remember he was a kind of a taller guy, and he was wearing Naruto or something, whatever the cloud, like this costume kind of thing. And he had like a little ninja headband on, I guess. The character, I'm not very familiar with anime, but he like would walk up to people, and then he would be like almost like talking to himself, and just acting so weird. And what's really weird about this is, like, I can relate to these guys, not because I was one of these guys. I was dorky, okay? I was a nerd. I was more of like a computer nerd type of socially awkward person, but my best friends in school were these guys. All right, so I would hang out with guys. I was a Magic the Gathering nerd kind of guy, but I would hang out with guys that would watch a lot of anime, that would think that they know martial arts and think that they can fight even though they've never fought in their life, and would brag about all these kind of things and try to show me their nunchuck skills and things like that. And just very compulsive liars, honestly, right? But in a very, very dorky way. And so I can relate to these guys, but my heart goes out to them, right? Every time I see these guys, and what I really wanted to do was go up to these guys and be like, hey, can I help you? Like, how can I help you, man? Like, what are you struggling with in life right now? Like, not only can I help you, I know I can help you. I know I can fix the problems that you are facing right now, because I know exactly how to get you out of your situation. And what's crazy about this, and this is kind of why I wanted to make this video, is that you're probably in some kind of situation yourself, based on your beliefs, based on these limitations that you have about what you think about yourself and what you think about reality. Because the truth is that reality is way, way larger and way more different than what you could ever imagine it to be, right? And so when you think about these guys in the anime land, right, that are walking around the mall dorky, and it just clearly just socially awkward, don't know what they're doing, right? In their mind frame, right? What they see, their world, that is who they are. That is the only option. This is, they have this very limited, boxed in view of themselves, and they could never imagine themselves, for example, going and talking to a girl and being successful about that, even though they might brag about that thing to their friends, even though they know they wouldn't ever do that. They couldn't imagine themselves being an athlete or being popular or any of those things, right? That it's not within the realm of possibility for them, but it's actually completely within the realm of possibility. Me as an outsider standing there watching them, and maybe not everyone would say this, but me knowing that I literally came from a place that was very much like them, right? If you look at my older videos and you look at some of the videos where I have before and after pictures, and I show you how I was very much like that. Not exactly like that, but I transformed myself. And so I really want to talk about in this video how you can actually transform yourself, and sort of the things that I would tell these guys. How would I help these guys if I were to help these guys, right? And and this is kind of what I do, right? I do try to help as many guys as possible through these videos, sharing what I've been through and what I've learned. But that's what I really want to talk about in this video. So the very first thing that I would do is change the environment, right? So what I did myself, right? Let's go back to high school, all right? In high school, my first 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, I was pretty much a dork. I had some nerdy friends. I really didn't have very many friends. I didn't do any sports. I talked to a girl for the first time. Actually, I didn't even talk to her. I wrote a love letter to her, and handed it to her. I've done a video where I talked about this, the 3 fears every man should face. I talk about that story in that video. And I mean, I was definitely not in a good place in terms of popularity or social skills. All right, and throughout my whole high school, I never kissed a girl. I never went on a date with a girl. I mean, I guess I went to prom when I was a senior with a junior girl. So, but I mean, that was the closest that I had come, right? But before then, I was even dorkier, right? And so what I did, I remember my sophomore year, at the end of my sophomore year, during the summer, okay, I started going to the gym for the first time. And then I started running. And then when I got back to school, my junior year, I enrolled in track, okay, and I enrolled in wrestling. So I signed up for 2 sports. I had never done any sports in high school. I never even planned on doing any sports. I'd hardly done any sports as a kid. My parents signed me up for little league softball or baseball when I was a kid, or like the little soccer things. But I really did not consider myself an athlete at all. So just by changing those things, right? Just by changing that environment, it changed who I was. All of a sudden, like, I went from being this really dorky guy to being this only somewhat dorky guy, right? I magically transformed so many things about myself. And, that was the beginning of the transformation. A lot of those transformations that took place in that era of my life were more external than internal. I still had an internal mindset that wasn't completely transformed, and that happened later on in life. But I mean, that's really the first step. And that's what I wanted to talk about in this video, is that right now, wherever you're at, right, a lot of the limitations that you have is just because of the environment that you're in, because we get into a cycle, a loop, right? So you look at these kids that were at this anime thing, right? Why are they like that? Well, one of the main reasons why they're like that is because they continue to do the same things. They continue to watch anime, hang out at anime conventions, and have their same dorky friends that are just like them. And because they're doing that, they're stuck in this loop. They're stuck in this cycle. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm saying ditch your friends and be a jerk and be someone else. What I'm saying is that you have to change some of those aspects, and that if you're caught in a loop, and it doesn't mean that right now you might not be a dork, okay, that's fine, but you're still probably caught in a loop. You're probably still caught in a loop of your environment. We all tend to fall into some kind of rhythm, right? Homeostasis, where we are in a cycle and we have the same environment. We go to the same work. We hang out with the same people. We eat the same foods, all right? And because of that, our life stays the same. If you really want to change your life, you need to disrupt that cycle, okay? You need to do something differently. That's why, for so many of you guys, when I tell you read books, that disrupts your cycle. You're not used to reading books. You start listening to audiobooks every single day and going for a run. It's going to change things. It's going to stir things up. Okay. For those of you guys that are scared of women and whatnot, and socially awkward, if you go and you just start talking to women, cold approaching women, it will change your life. It will completely change your life. Drastically, it will change your life, because you will be shaking things up. You'll be changing the environment. If you go to the gym, if you're not lifting weights, or if you go and run a marathon, or if you sign up for an ultra marathon and start training for an ultra marathon, can you imagine the kind of impact that would have on your life? All right. If you enroll in a course, or go enroll in a dancing course, right? Learn salsa dancing or something like that. Bam, it's going to change your life. Start building a business, right? Start actually trying to build a business. Start making a YouTube channel, all right? Make videos, right? All of these things are drastic changes that will drastically impact your life if you do those things. And so, it's not as hard to change as you would think, right? Most people will never change their life. This is very true. But as I've been thinking about this more, I've been trying to really dissect this and really try to figure out what is it that allowed me to make the changes that I have, and what will allow me to make further changes when I want to make further changes in my life, and what are the main catalysts of that. And a lot of that comes down to a change of environment. Have you ever noticed, if you've moved to different places, that you tend to be a different person and live a different life depending on where you live, right? I have moved a lot. I've had a lot of life changes. There's a lot of versions of John Sonmez. I'll do a video at some point where I show physically the different versions of John Sonmez, and you can see what he looks like differently, okay? But I've moved a lot of places. I have a lot of different lives. Okay, I remember, living in Santa Monica, California when I first graduated high school and after I got out of college. I remember living in Boise, Idaho before that, right after I got out of college. I remember moving to Phoenix. I remember going to New Jersey, to Florida, right? Living different lives, completely different lives because of the different things that I was doing in that environment, and you get into a rhythm and a pattern. And so if you're stuck in a rut right now, you need to change the rhythm. You need to change the pattern. You need to change the environment that you are living in and do different things. And you can do that by just adding something completely different from your life, right? So again, coming back to these dorky guys, right? If I were to talk to these dorky guys and I said, hey, check this out. Why don't you actually enroll in an MMA class and then actually fight, actually get in the ring and get trained for a fight? They're probably like, no, I wouldn't do that, whatever right? But imagine if one of those guys actually did that. Imagine how that would shape this person's life, right? It would be completely, can you imagine the guy doing that and not coming out of that experience a completely different person? Can you see how drastically it would change his life? How it would break him out of that, right? He might still have some of those dorky attributes, but he would see himself differently. And when you see yourself differently, you become different. And the thing is, when you do things, that's how you see yourself differently. And again, I'm sort of synthesizing my own experience here and sort of telling myself, like I said, these videos are for me coaching myself. So thanks for watching them, but it's not for you, it's for me. But the thing is that, as I've done extreme things, as I've run marathons and ultra marathons and pushed myself to my physical limits and got out of my comfort zone and spoke on stages and did all kinds of things, and when I was doing pickup in game and all that stuff, those changes, those drastic changes, right? It shook things up. It put me outside of my comfort zone sufficiently enough that it caused me to have a bunch of internal changes because of that. And so, probably the best thing, honestly, that you can do right now, if you really want to disrupt your life, if you really want to change your life, if you really want to grow in some way, is to pick something that you would never think of doing. Some kind of crazy thing that is not you. That's not something that you would generally be drawn to or like. And I can tell you, believe me, I've done it. I'm not a runner. Okay, I am now, I guess, but I never was a runner, especially not a long distance runner. All right, just didn't make any sense to me, right? I'm not built for it. I never enjoyed it when I did go for runs, but I trained for a marathon and I ran a marathon. All right. I trained every day and I still run now. Now it's a part of what I do. Okay. But that kind of thing, when you do that, when you take something that just is so foreign to you and you start doing that thing, it will shake things up. It will change things. And like I said, the biggest problem that most people have is that they're stuck in a rut because they will never do anything that they don't like doing. They will never do anything that is completely outside of their comfort zone. They will never do anything they don't feel like is them, right? Pick something that is totally foreign from you, totally something that is not you at all, something that you don't even like at all, okay? And then do it, and do it for a long time and see what happens. See how your life changes. I'll see you tomorrow.